The envelope slid across the table and stopped at my elbow. No one spoke. The clink of cutlery had already died. I didn't need to open it to know what it was. Her father smiled like a surgeon before the incision. Her mother avoided my eyes. My wife watched the envelope instead of me, as if it might explode. That was the moment I understood the dinner wasn't an invitation, it was a verdict. I stayed still, calm, curious. I wanted to see how far they'd go once they thought I was small. I met her 5 years earlier in a crowded elevator, both of us pretending not to notice the silence. She laughed when it stalled between floors. Not a polite laugh, a real one. I remember thinking that anyone who could laugh while trapped deserved attention. We built something quietly. Coffee dates, long walks, shared books. She never asked what I did beyond investments. I never corrected her assumptions. Simplicity was a refuge. It still is. Her parents were another story. Old money posture, new money hunger. They measured people the way jewelers measure stones. Weight first, clarity later. I passed as transparent, useful, but replaceable. They tolerated me because she insisted. They smiled because they assumed love made me obedient. I noticed the shift months before the dinner. Shorter calls, strategic silences. Her phone face down more often. A new phrase entered her vocabulary. My parents think. She stopped saying we. That's how betrayal begins, not with a scream, but with a pronoun. The proof came quietly. A forwarded email she forgot to delete, a meeting invite labeled contingency. My name appeared in it like a footnote. They were planning her future without me, or rather, they were planning her future away from me. I didn't confront her. I didn't ask questions I already knew the answers to. I adjusted. That's what I do. I watch systems. I learn their pressure points. Then I move where it hurts the least until it doesn't. The company her father built was impressive from the outside. From the inside, it was fragile, over-leveraged, dependent on confidence, on a handful of silent backers who preferred anonymity to applause. People like me. $10 billion worth of me, spread carefully, invisibly across voting shares and convertible debt. I had been there for years, before I met her, before she learned to spell EBITDA. I stayed quiet because power speaks loudest when it doesn't speak at all. The envelope waited. Just something to help you, her father said. A chance to start fresh. I opened it slowly. A check. Generous enough to look kind, small enough to feel insulting. A severance package for a marriage that wasn't over yet. I smiled. Is this before or after the lawyers? My wife flinched. That was confirmation. I stood and thanked them for dinner. I told my wife I loved her. I meant the version of her I met in that elevator. Then I left the envelope on the table like a stain no one wanted to acknowledge. The next morning I made 3 calls. No anger, no raised voice, just confirmations, timelines, votes. By the end of the week, the board meeting her father had postponed twice could no longer wait. Liquidity concerns have a way of accelerating honesty. My proxy votes appeared like ghosts taking seats. Motions passed that had been stalled for years. Audits opened doors best left closed. He called me that night, furious, confused. He demanded to know who was behind it. I am, I said. Not loudly, clearly. Silence. Then disbelief. Then fear finally catching up. The confrontation came a month later. Same table, different air. My wife looked at me like I was a stranger who shared her memories. Her father looked smaller, older. The company was being restructured. His role was becoming ceremonial, his power symbolic. You set us up, she said. I shook my head. I let you reveal yourselves. I told her everything then, not to hurt her, to end the illusion cleanly. Love doesn't survive contempt, and she had learned it somewhere long before me. The divorce was efficient, fair. I didn't take what I didn't need. Revenge isn't about excess, it's about precision. Now I live the same way I always did. Same apartment, same coffee, same quiet. The difference is internal. I no longer confuse being underestimated with being unseen. Sometimes I think about the envelope, how confident they were, how certain. That certainty cost them everything. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't flip the table, I just reminded them who had been holding it up all along.